What I want to talk about today is Know Your Limits racks. That's the basis for the video, but I want to talk about a few other things. So, with the growing of the NRL 22 for many reasons, one of them, it's affordable. Entry fees are like $8–10. Most people have 22s. The 22 ammos is fairly affordable depending on what you get. Obviously the better stuff is kind of expensive, but the NRL doesn't, you don't need a ton of ammo to compete. So even if you wanted to buy something like Lapua Center X or the Ely 10X or something like that, $15–18 a box, which sounds crazy, but one box of ammo will get you through the match. Most of the stages are 10 shots, 5 stages, so you need a total of 50 bullets. So you can feed your gun good ammo, compete with it, and then just shoot regular ammo when you get home or when you want to practice or whatever. So it has its pros and its cons. You can always run lower grade ammo if that's what you choose, but one thing that is quite popular is Know Your Limits racks. I've been searching the web trying to find where I can purchase a Know Your Limits 22 style rack, really small targets, and I haven't had a whole lot of luck. Nick over at the Next Zip Code purchased one from a guy in Arizona, and the thing is awesome, but I can't seem to find his email. And there's another guy that has a small little company, and he's in, I believe, Anchorage, Alaska. The shipping is outrageous. So to get it from there to Vermont, almost as much as the target would cost, outweighs. So what I wanted to do was just throw one together myself. I try to be a little bit handy with tools and stuff, and I'm by far no means a carpenter or a welding specialist, so bear with me, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are better welders. But one thing you're going to need obviously is going to be a welder. The rest of the stuff you can basically buy from a hardware store. So this is actually a little 22 rack I threw together myself. What I plan on doing is doing a future video of how to make this, because I'm sure a lot of people are interested. I think I got maybe $30 total into this, maybe even 25, and as you can see, it works pretty well. My downfall is welding, so I have had the small one break off and I had to re-weld it, but the rest of them seem to be holding pretty good, and if you're a better welder you won't have that problem. So I'm going to do a future video, the stuff I got and from the store, and what you would need to throw one of these together yourself. And I'm going to give you a quick walk around here. Alright, what I started with here is some just conduit legs. The conduit's pretty cheap, and I bought these little adapters. They're kind of like a V. I wish they had a way to attach the pipe on the top, but I'll get into that later. This is just 1/4 inch pipe I ran across the middle, and it's smooth and slick, so these things kind of go crazy. So I took tape, put dividers in them just to keep it apart, but there's better ways to do it. You could tack weld the sides here and keep this in place, but the problem with doing something like that is you won't be able to break it down or take it with you. So the way I got it set up here, the only downfall I got is this connection here. What I did was take the original screws out from this V, and I added the same thread, just longer, so it's got more bite, and I slid this up underneath, and it's got rubber gaskets. Little rubber gaskets that kind of keep this thing secured. So if anybody's going to complain about the build, I would say I could improve this, but it works just fine. So I cut the rear legs at 3 feet, the front legs at 2 feet, kind of gives it a little bit of a stand-up approach. And then what I did, the hardest part is finding the steel. If you're going to make these or produce these, if you want to make 5 or 6 of them, the smartest way to do it would be buy 1-inch pipe, maybe 5 feet long, because that's how they carry it in sections. And then you could go with something like a 3/4 inch pipe and then cut it into sections, and you could make multiple different targets at that size. My problem is I just wanted to put one together, so I ended up, the cheapest way to do it is to go with bolts. I went with like a grade 8 or a grade 12, I can't remember, they're gold, but they're pretty hard, dense steel. So as far as using them for targets, especially with a 22 with standard velocity ammo, I haven't had any problems. So I went with a 1-inch bolt, and I bought a nut for the back of it, and the reason for the nut is it's kind of hard to weld the threads. So with the nut, I could tack weld the nut behind it, line the sections up here, and I actually have a flat surface to attach the piping, to weld the pipe into a flat surface instead of having to deal with the threads and getting a bad contact. So I went 1 inch, 3/4 inch, I believe this is 5/8 or 3/8, and then this is the opposite of that. I don't know my sizes, 5/8 or 3/8, and then I went down to a 1/4 of an inch here. So that's basically the standard size of what they use. You can use any size you want. That's just what I went with. So I want to do a future video on how to build one of these. It's really simple once you get the parts. And another thing that's pretty important is the wider you go with this up here, the less wobble, the less walk you're going to have. And as you can see, these are pretty tight, the 1/4 inch pipe, and I believe the opening's 1/4 inch too, and it just fits perfect. So that's my little build I put together, and like I said, I'm going to do a future video how to build this maybe in the next week or so once I get some time, and it seems to work fine. And I shoot this at 25 or 50 yards, either or, and seems to work good. So the only problem I've ever had was this little one here. There isn't a whole lot to weld to, so the contact surface, it did break off maybe a week ago or 5 days ago. I re-welded it and it seems to be holding. Alright guys, another thing I want to do a video on is using a factory rifle with match grade ammo, and then using a factory rifle with like something like CCI, and then do the same thing with like an upgraded barrel and see how much accuracy you can gain with the 22 with a match grade barrel shooting just factory ammo. Not saying you should do that, but there's a lot of people out there that really don't want to spend $15–20 on a box of ammo. So even my thought process was, if I put a match grade barrel on this, maybe I could make the 22 ammo that I shoot more affordable and still tighten up the groups. There's another half of people out there that have just a factory rifle, like my Savage. It's just factory barrel, factory action. And how much accuracy can you gain from shooting like a high-end, like a Lapua or an Ely 10X style bullet, and see what you can gain for accuracy, just to find out if you could compete, because these are the targets you're going to be shooting at, say from 25 yards. And the last competition I was in, or the NRL 22 match I was in, I think I finished, I don't even know, there was probably 14 people. I probably finished middle of the pack. There was some good shooters there, and good equipment, and they have a whole 22 program they're doing there. So the guys there are building custom rifles. They know all about the good ammo. So I was actually the one that was behind the curb when it come to that place. So I'm hoping that when I come back up, I just picked up 1,000 rounds of Lapua Center X, and that's what Nick shoots over at the next zip code, and he does pretty well with it. He actually blew everybody's doors away. So I'm hoping that with the Lapua ammo, with my factory Savage, I can tighten up the groups small enough to make consistent hits at 25 yards on a 1/4 inch target like this. But that's what I want to do. So thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all the new subscribers. We got a couple thousand followers now, and I appreciate all you guys. If you like what I'm talking about, or you want to see some upcoming videos, please hit the like button or subscribe, and have a good day. Enjoy the weather. Thanks for watching.